We're on the brink of war.
At this point, the only real way forward for Captain America 5 might be bringing back Chris Evans as Cap. Captain America 4 didn't exactly win over critics, and if the MCU wants to course correct, one option is having Steve Rogers return as Nomad. But that's not the only way they could go. If you're familiar with the comics, you know there are some pretty sinister versions of Cap out there. So let's break down everything we know about a possible Chris Evans comeback in Captain America 5, and how the MCU could bring him back in a whole new way. Right now, Captain America 5 hasn't been confirmed, but it feels inevitable. Sam Wilson's journey as the new Cap is just getting started, and with Brave New World setting up so many future storylines, there's plenty of room for another solo movie before the Avengers films. Anthony Mackie has already confirmed he'll be back for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, but Captain America 5 would give him a chance to further establish himself as a leader. The film could explore his growing role with the Avengers while also throwing a massive new threat his way, one that could only be matched by bringing back Chris Evans as a twisted, ultra-powerful version of Captain America, Captain Gamma. In the comics, Captain Gamma is what happens when Captain America and the Hulk merge into one being. Imagine all of Steve Rogers' tactical brilliance and fighting skills mixed with the sheer uncontrollable power of the Hulk. That's Captain Gamma. When he gets angry, he doesn't just Hulk out. He becomes a nearly unstoppable force with the discipline of a soldier and the fury of a monster. This version of Cap would be a terrifying opponent for Sam Wilson, pushing him to his limits in ways no villain has before. While Sam has always relied on strategy and skill over brute force, facing a Gamma-powered super soldier would test every ounce of his leadership and resilience. There's already a way to make this work in the MCU. We know Steve Rogers is still alive, but old, and Bruce Banner is still walking around as Smart Hulk. If something happens that forces a desperate fusion between the two, whether through a science experiment gone wrong, multiversal meddling, or an intentional act to create a stronger hero, it could lead to Captain Gamma's creation. Maybe Ross, from his prison in the raft, is still experimenting with gamma radiation. Maybe Avengers Doomsday involves a world-ending crisis that leads to Steve or Bruce making a last-ditch effort to fuse their powers. Whatever the reason, the result would be a Captain America that Sam has no idea how to handle. One of Brave New World's biggest themes was Sam doubting whether he was worthy of the shield. He spent the film proving he could handle the responsibility. But what happens when he faces a version of Captain America who is literally unstoppable? Would the world still look to Sam as their leader, or would they rally behind a version of Cap who is stronger and more powerful than ever? This movie could explore the idea of what truly makes someone Captain America. Is it the strength, the leadership, the moral compass? Captain Gamma would challenge everything Sam believes in and force him to prove that being Captain America isn't about having super strength, it's about standing up for what's right, no matter the odds. Even if Captain Gamma isn't the main villain of Captain America 5, introducing him could tie directly into Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars. The MCU is heading toward a multiversal crisis, and having a version of Steve Rogers return, especially one this dangerous, would make a huge impact. It would also let Chris Evans come back in a completely different role, giving fans the nostalgia of seeing him again while also presenting a fresh, unexpected twist. Whether as a villain, an anti-hero, or a tragic figure caught between his human side and his monstrous power, Captain Gamma would be an unforgettable addition to the MCU. And if Captain America 5 wants to stand out, this might just be the perfect way to do it. There's been a lot of buzz ever since reports surfaced about Chris Evans returning to the MCU for Avengers Doomsday. Fans have been speculating about who he might play and whether it even makes sense for him to join Robert Downey Jr. in this massive film. But now, it looks like his return is officially happening, and it's got everyone talking. Evans played a huge role in the MCU for years, leading his own Captain America trilogy and being a key player in multiple Avengers films. Naturally, fans are excited to see him back in the Marvel world, and now we finally have an idea of who he's playing. For a while, people wondered if he'd suit up as Cap again or take on a completely different role. Well, according to industry insider Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic, Evans will be returning as Nomad. Snyder stated, "I've heard who the character is. I was having the conversation today and someone mentioned it. Nomad." For those unfamiliar, Nomad is an identity Steve Rogers adopts in the comics after giving up the Captain America mantle. He walks away from the government and goes rogue, feeling like he no longer aligns with their values. It's unclear if Avengers Doomsday will follow that exact storyline, but it sounds like Evans' return will be through this version of the character rather than a multiversal variant. What's even more interesting is that Nomad doesn't have to debut in Avengers Doomsday. He could actually show up in Captain America 5 first. With Anthony Mackie's Cap now fully stepping into his role and leading the Avengers, bringing in Nomad before the big multiversal crossover could add an emotional and narrative layer to Sam's journey. Maybe Steve returns as Nomad to guide him, or they could even be on opposing sides at first. Either way, it would be a great way to set up Evans' return before the massive events of Doomsday and Secret Wars. The last time we saw Steve Rogers in the MCU was at the end of Avengers Endgame, when he traveled back in time to return the Infinity Stones and decided to stay in the past, finally getting his long-awaited life with Peggy Carter. However, Evans recently made a brief return to the Marvel Universe in Deadpool and Wolverine, playing his original Fantastic Four character, Johnny Storm, though that version didn't make it out alive. Having Evans return as Nomad is an exciting move that fits into the existing MCU without needing a multiverse explanation. It allows him to be back as Steve Rogers, but in a way that doesn't overshadow Anthony Mackie's Captain America. And if Marvel plays it right, we could see Nomad in Captain America 5 first, helping to bridge the gap before Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Whether he's a mentor, a rogue warrior, or something entirely else, Steve's return as Nomad has the potential to shake things up in a big way. That said, Captain America 5 could use Nomad in a way that doesn't disrupt the present timeline, but still gives Steve Rogers a meaningful presence. Instead of having him return in the current day, they could explore his time as Nomad through flashbacks, showing a hidden chapter of his past that ties into Sam Wilson's journey as Captain America. And that's all we know about the upcoming movie. Thanks for watching, and if something more comes out, then you'll know it. We'll keep you updated, and so if you just give us a thumbs up to my channel and hit that subscribe button, we will appreciate that much more, and we will see you in the next one.